Okay, so we've all come across objections whether we've been working with buyers or with sellers, correct?
Yes.
All right, so in researching for this, there are some people who say the top 10 objections, the top 21 objections, the top 30 objections, the top 40 objections. So that tells me there's a lot of objections that you guys hear on a regular basis, right? So what we want to do is, who wants to start with the first one, and then we'll help you overcome that objection. Yes, Karen?
You're too new in the business. You don't have enough experience.
Too new. Okay. That's a good one. Now, here's my question, is how do they know you're too new?
They maybe researched you online. You don't have a lot of sales or listings.
Okay.
Or you're young, very young.
Like you, Paul?
Yeah. I always get accused of being too new.
Not enough reviews.
Next one is you too old.
Online. So they did some research online.
Right.
Yeah. Experience.
Wisdom.
Okay.
Seen it all.
So, how would someone overcome this objection? Yes, Mandy?
You have experiences outside of being a real estate agent and a realtor that are transferable.
Okay. So,
Like, I have sales and marketing,
right.
15 years. That's what I'm doing.
Sales skills that translate to real estate.
Marketing,
Okay.
staging,
Okay. Relate well to real estate. Okay. What else?
My own answer to that is I have 25 years of my personal experience buying and selling my own homes.
25 years of experience.
With my personal business.
Right. Okay.
what about reviews or referrals from clients who have that?
Well, yeah, so you get those reviews. So start getting reviews quickly, and you can send gift cards for reviews in advance of getting those reviews, because they'll feel guilty about getting a gift card and not doing a review. Okay.
I prepped for the review. I prepped
Yeah.
them for the review.
Yep,
I mean,
that's also good. Or in case you didn't do it already, you could go back and buy them.
Which one do you
Okay?
real satisfied. And then real satisfied, you can send the Starbucks gift card. right?
Yep, yep,
Right
12 bucks.
now.
Yep.
12 bucks.
Let's promote the Remax Gateway experience.
Remax Gateway Experience. Yep. So, Scott, you have a mentor
Right.
who you can pick up the phone and call, who will answer the question I have. Okay? Jessica, you can pick up the phone and call me, right? So you're never too busy. And the other thing is, you can say is, hey, right now, I'm only working with a couple of clients. I have more time to dedicate to you because I am new, and I'm only a phone call away from over 200 years of experience between Paul and Dan and me and
200.
Dave and Lynn.
2,000 years.
Your mentor, your broker, other agents in the office. You work in a collaborative environment that people are willing to help me out if I have any questions. So it's not necessarily somebody with more experience or has, because they might be working with more clients and can't dedicate the time and energy and effort that you require of an agent because it's the most important transaction that's going on in your life at that time. Okay? So, and Scott. Okay? What's another thing you can say?
Receive a lot of training and hands-on experience.
So you have training, support, and then you have resources, right? So
Market
those would
leader.
be your vendors, right? Your mortgage and title and So you've been gathering, while you were getting licensed, you've been gathering information to help you with handling all their real estate needs. Anything else you guys can think of on that one? No? But again, I think, again, I like the one that, the sales skills that relate. I mean, all these, I think, would help you overcome those objections. What else?
The next objection, you mean?
Yes,
Commission.
Commission rate.
commission. And what do they say? We want to pay you too much commission?
Right.
Can we increase your commission? Is
We
that
can
what
get
they
it, we have somebody that's offered blank percent.
said? Someone else said they would do it for less. Number one answer is,
In life, you get what you paid for. You
they
either
probably should.
You can either shop at Walmart, or you can shop at Nordstrom's.
Right. You get what you pay for. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention previously, when you say these things, have a story, right? Because stories go a lot further than you just saying, well, you get what you pay for, right? So, hey, you get what you pay for. There was one time when I went and I bought a shirt at Marshall's, and it said that it was Calvin Klein, and it was just a little off, but I wore it like 3 times, and it fell apart when I dried it, like for the 3rd time. So I paid $19 for that shirt. I had another one I paid $59 for, and I still wear it today, right? I mean, you have to come up with a relatable story, right? Hey, somebody else said that I didn't have enough experience, but they came across, this mold issue in the basement, and I called up my mentor, or I called up the broker, and they told me what to do in that situation, right? So you need to not only have these kind of answers lined up, but a story to back it up, right? And so, what else? So you get what you pay for. What's another one?
I just told the client, yeah, I've heard of the discount brokers, I've seen them too, but the thing is gonna be with me is, and then I sold myself.
Right. So you sell yourself and services, right? So, if someone says that they can do everything that I say that I can do for less money, how are they going to do it, right? You're going to stage the house. You're going to do professional photography. You're going to do twilight photography, right? You're going to do all these added services. How can they do that for 1% or 1.5%? Because these things cost money, right? So you have true value of your services. So you have, professional photography, staging, what else? Marketing, open houses,
Broker open if you need it.
broker opens,
Information exchanges.
real estate information exchange. Right, so how are they gonna provide marketing? And what kind of marketing are you gonna do versus what kind of marketing can they do? Because it costs money to market, right? So, the other thing is, break it down. Okay? Third goes to taxes. You have business expenses, and then you need to make income, right?
And your broker.
That's a business expense,
Okay.
right? So that would be these expenses plus Remax Gateway, right?
Would you make a sheet that says professional picture, $300? Like, would you show them?
Yeah, so if they say, okay, well, I'm not willing to pay you 6% or 5%, say, great, which service don't you want included?
That's good.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, so, not to be a contrarian, but I have always found in the 20+ years that when you start over-explaining and it reeks a little of desperation, then you start negotiating a little bit against yourself, right? If somebody wants to go do something for 1%, go for it. Have at it. You'll be back, right? You know, there's got to be a little air of confidence there,
Take away.
right? That says, go ahead. This is what you're in for. I'm going to
Right.
explain to you what you're in for. But at the end of the day, you know, if you want that, go for it. Go get that. You know, I don't want to you don't want to reek of desperation and over-explain. Well, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this, and it just sort of.
Well, you do have to compare and contrast services.
I get
and say,
that,
okay, so
but-
what do you want to, what are you expecting for 1%?
This over-negotiation of you know, just seems like you're going to, just reeks of desperation sometimes, and it takes a little bit away from the professionalism of the whole content of the conversation, in my opinion. I try to avoid over-educating them, if that sounds a little odd, but,
Okay.
you know, overdoing it.
Yes, Scott.
So, I think there's kind of two, from my perspective, the discount broker, there's kind of two that I've run into. One is like the family member who's a licensed realtor who can
That'll be
fill out the
another one.
forms for you.
That'll be another
That,
one that
and,
we go over.
you know, that you're not gonna, I don't really have an answer for, other than what you've said. I don't find that, but my other point would be, a lot of the ones that are public, that you hear on the radio, I'll sell your house for, you know, 0.5% or something, there's a lot of fine print in those, as you've talked to me, you know,
Right,
cause
right.
it's not, their advertising will sell it for 1%, they don't bring up that there's a buyer's agent,
Yeah.
you know, commission as well, they
It
don't
could be
bring up that maybe you're
Right.
required to make your purchase through them in order to get this, you know.
Right.
It's not always as simple as it
And
sounds.
it could be add-ons like these guys were talking about with us today. Okay, it's this amount, but then how much more for these things, right? Or it could be a fee. But again, you can always do the takeaway, hey, go ahead, go for it.
Yeah.
You know, and just, so, that was pretty timely, Kelly.
One other one would be the discussion of if the other agent is so willing to give away their commission so quickly, how well are they going to be able to negotiate your
for you.
price?
Right. How are they gonna negotiate for you? Okay, friend or family in the business?
So if you go.
They're not a very good friend, or not a very close family member if we're sitting here talking about your real estate transaction. Right?
Mhm. Why did they call you?
Yeah, so
Right.
why are you calling?
Why are you calling me if you already have a friend or family member in the business? So, not a good friend, or not a good agent. Why else would you be calling me, right? What else can you say?
Selling your home is a very personal experience. Do you want them to get involved with all your personal finances? A friend or
Right.
family member?
And you don't want to ruin a friendship, right? If things don't work out.
Or do you want to ruin a friendship by not using your friend?
Yeah, and that could be yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's personal experience, you want them involved.
I don't wanna talk about it.
That does happen.
And Scott, you mentioned this a second ago, I think I spelled that wrong, is they'll fill out the paperwork. And real estate is more than just filling in the blanks. You know, it's a lot more detailed than just fill out the blanks. Because you can go to Home Depot and get a sales contract and do it yourself.
Does Home Depot really sell contracts?
Office Depot, sorry.
Just
They
wondering
probably
about
do.
that. I
They
didn't
sell
know
everything
that.
else, right? Wouldn't be
Right,
surprised.
for sale sign at Home Depot maybe, but yeah.
You go to Legal Shield.
Okay, what are some other things you can say about that?
Are they gonna track your deadlines when you're negotiating?
Right, so that relate to those.
Oh,
Will it be a priority? They're doing it for less.
So again, you're selling yourself. You are a priority for me.
those are friend or family
else on that one? Okay. What else do we hear?
You're gonna wait for the spring.
We're gonna wait? We are going to wait. Okay,
Can we do this one as a
all right, let's do,
buyer
we're gonna
fee?
wait to buy.
Okay,
Okay, let's do that one first, because there's gonna be two components to this.
yes.
Okay, so we're gonna wait to buy.
Wait for what?
Okay, wait for what? That's a good one. So you want to get more information, right? So that you can hear what the next things are going to be, that they are stalling for, okay? Why? Why wait?
Because mom's got to be dead before they get their inheritance.
Or we're in a lease, right? We're in a lease until June, you know? So you need to, again, ask more questions. What else?
See if rates go, or no, because rates are going up, and so sellers, the prices are gonna go down.
Well, we're not working with sellers, and I don't
No,
know
to
that
buy
that's-
that, right,
So,
buy.
rates
Wait,
are,
They're
because rates are
going,
rates are going up, you want to buy today.
Yeah.
right. But since rates are going up, sellers can't sell their houses quickly, which means prices are gonna go down.
Purchasing power is less.
I had two people just tell me they're gonna wait because they think prices are going down.
Okay, we'll get into that one in a second.
Okay.
It's like this, it's the old stock market adage, right? You know, there's no perfect time, right?
Right.
If you're gonna try to time the market, you're a loser.
Right, so prices are going down.
See.
You know what? You're a
Loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, loser.
Okay, so
If
prices are
your mom
going
and dad
down.
ever told you that you were gonna do something just to have fun, your dad's a loser.
Why are prices going down? Why do they think that?
Because interest rates are going up. So
That doesn't mean,
means
just because
prices
interest rates
going
are up,
down.
because rates are going up doesn't mean prices are coming down.
That's what they think.
That's,
Do they think the
who's
market's
been in the
slow?
business longer, and how many transactions have you done,
I know.
right?
What is that
Yeah.
based on?
So,
It's based on, they said.
it's based
because
upon media. It's
seller-
based upon their next door neighbor. It's based upon somebody at work who drinks at the water cooler all day, giving people advice on life.
Yeah.
They're
And
not a
it-
true professional.
If that's the case and they have a house to sell, then they're going to get less for their house as well. So what's the difference?
You
Might
can't
as well move.
time
Can't
the
time
market is number one, okay? You can never time it, doesn't matter what you're doing. Interest rates, prices, stock market, there's no such thing as a perfect time, okay? The other question is, why are you buying? Right?
You know, like what's their sense of urgency? Why do they need to?
It's,
Right, so the question is, if you're buying on speculation, then wait till prices come down in 2022, or whenever it's gonna be, because it's not gonna be in the next couple years, it's gonna be a few more years out,
Yeah.
okay? And it's also, if Amazon comes, prices are gonna go up. So, now's a better time to buy than waiting, okay? So, why are you gonna buy? Is it speculation, or is it to find the home for your family in the school district and close to work, or, you know, close to that shopping center you want to be, and people want to be next to Wegmans for some reason, but whatever. But ask them why they're buying, all right? And say, if you're going to be selling in 3 years, maybe you should just rent, right? But if you're planning on living there and raising your family and it's the right home for you, there's no reason to not buy and expect prices to come down, because nobody can predict the future. And what else do you have a crystal ball for?
Right, yeah, well, that's what
Right.
I said, we don't have a.
Right,
There's
right. So there's no crystal ball.
We can't.
So on this one, as far as the rates, right? Rates are going up. You need to have a general idea of what price these people are looking to spend. So $400,000 house at 5%, the monthly mortgage is, call it $2,700. If it goes to 5 1/8, then the payment's $2,850, and if it goes to 5 1/4, so it's going to cost you this much more money. And don't you want to invest that money in your children's education, or don't you want to spend it on horses or horseback riding lessons or another motorcycle or whatever the case might be? So you have to know the numbers, okay? So know your numbers.
So I have a great graphic that I got last week that says, say the price increases, $150 a month, over the life of the loan, that's over $55,000. And what could you have done with $55,000? A lot.
There you go. So again, that comes back to know your numbers on that, if it's at an open house that you're holding, or if it's a buyer interview that you're doing, and somebody, after you show them a few houses, says, I think we're gonna wait because we think prices are coming down. Because, again, they spoke to somebody at the office, or they spoke to a family member in Alaska that knows everything about real estate, or whatever the case might be, right? So, again, you need to, and again, in the buyer interview and in the seller interview, it's really important for you to tell them that now that they're looking to buy our house or looking to sell their house, everybody's going to be giving them advice. And just shake your head and say, thank you very much, and then you come and ask me if it's true. Because some of it will be good advice, but most of it won't be accurate advice because it was when they bought a house 15 years ago or 10 years ago, or they haven't even bought a house yet and they're reading stuff on the internet, okay? A lot of people have a lot of access to a lot of information, whether it's people or the internet, right? And it may or may not be true. So prepare them that they're gonna, because it's the reticular activator goes up, right? They're now hearing other people talk about real estate and they're gonna ask for more advice when they really shouldn't. They should come to you. So just say thank you, shake your head, and come ask me, and I'll give you the right information. Okay, so what's next? Why wait to sell?
Sellers.
Wait to sell. Okay? Again, why? All right? Why do you want to wait? Because it could be a legitimate reason. Job transfer is not coming through until the spring, right? Kids are going to get out of school and want to move because before they get into high school. So, again, there's a lot of reasons, but you need to ask why.
I'd also ask, why do they want to move? Because those things might be more important than the reasons for waiting.
Why move? Okay? And again, you're going to find out more information. But just don't say, oh, okay, thank you very much. Ask why, right? Why were you thinking about moving in the first place? Why do you want to wait? Okay? Now, what's the other thing? You said it. Prices are going down.
Prices are going
Oh my God, why do you want to take advantage of today's market? Prices are going down, right? So, you know what prices are today, is a better way of putting that.
It's reverse.
Okay, so we know what prices are today, right? We know what rates are today. And we know what competition is today, right? And if they're going to be moving for the right reasons, now's a good time to sell, right? If, again, they don't have the right reasons, then maybe they should wait. But again, we don't know if prices are going up or going down. So, you know, the known is better than the unknown, right? And we know interest rates are today, but they are going up. So if interest rates go up, the buyer pool comes down, right? Because there's only a certain number of people that can qualify to buy your house. And then right now, there's only 2 houses on the market in your neighborhood. Who knows? A lot of people could be waiting for the spring to put it on the market when their flowers are blooming and their landscaping looks lush and all that stuff. So there could be 10 houses for sale in the spring. Okay? Anything else? No? What is another objection you guys hear?
That they want to do all these improvements before they list the house.
Okay.
Would that fall under my weight?
Well, no, we could talk about improvements.
Go for it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay, so on the improvements, what improvements are you thinking about making? Right? Because some are going to net them more money than others. And in some cases, it may be better to price it lower and get it sold versus doing major upgrades, renovations. Well, we were gonna add on a family room addition. Alright, so, I mean, some people they say that, you know, we're gonna upgrade all 3 bathrooms, alright? So you need to know the cost versus value
That's your taste.
comparison, right? So if it is to paint and to replace carpet, they're gonna get their money back, right? But if it's to redo their kitchen, probably not. If they're gonna redo their bathrooms, probably not, right?
Unless
So you
they're
need-
very old and they need to be redone.
Or price, so if it's gonna cost $30,000 to redo 2 bathrooms and they're only gonna get 20 out of it, why not just price it
to sell.
20 grand less and get it sold more quickly, right? So you need to know how to price compare on that. And Realtor Magazine does it every year where you go to like realtor.org and you can do cost versus value and they'll break it down per area for the different things that people typically do to sell a house, okay?
Scott, I have a question. So
Yeah.
if someone has a basic kitchen that's functional, but like they were saying, maybe the appliances are older, should they invest money and replace the appliances and maybe not do newer countertops or newer, you know?
Price sells. I think it's better to price it less than the last sale by 5 grand, then invest 10 grand to put in granite and new appliances. Because you're probably not gonna get 15 grand out of it.
Okay.
And that is sometimes what we refer to as lipstick on a pig, right? It's still gonna be the same old house, same old cabinets,
Right.
right? Probably same old floor. So just putting in granite and stainless steel appliances or whatever isn't going to overcome the dated bathrooms and the not updated windows and things like that.
Okay.
So you don't want to put lipstick on a pig.
So you recommend what, like carpet and paint are yeses?
Carpet and paint are going to be yeses. You'll get that money back.
Well, someone, it may have been you at a previous meeting, had suggested an idea that I really liked, which was to.
Then I probably did.
Which was to price the home where it would be if you had done the updates, but make a big deal of saying that this includes a $30,000 subsidy or whatever to redo the kitchen the way you want to
Right.
the buyer. So then you're saying, hey, rather than us go out and buy white cabinets and, you know, whatever, this countertop, which you may not like, here's 30 grand. You,
Go do it yourself.
You pick what you want.
Correct. So you could go to Home Depot or to Ryco across the street or to FA Flooring and Design, and you can go and they'll have packages that say this floor, this cabinet, this granite will cost you this much money in this kitchen. And you have 3 different choices to make, 1 white, 1 maple, 1 dark kind of thing. Okay, so but price sells most of the time. So you have to look at the overall picture, and again, you have somebody put $30,000 in, and they might not get that $30,000 out, and then they're mad at you, not mad at themselves for making that decision. Okay? All right. You guys don't hear very many objections. You must not be talking to enough people, is the way that correlates to me.
I like the one where you're doing an open, they go, I'm already working with an agent. Well, they may or may not be, and they may or may not be signed up.
Okay?
As far as trying to get us off their quote-unquote back, or leave them alone.
I have an answer to that one.
Go.
So, someone really smart told me this. He said, maybe before you know, don't put them in a corner and make them say yes or no, they're working with an agent. Say, I don't know if you're working with an agent or not, but I have a great customer preferred package that can save my clients thousands of dollars.
Correct.
And then the first thing they'll say is,
Right,
oh,
and they're gonna say, well, what's that? Well, I pay for your move up to $2,000, and then I have a lender who will do a free appraisal. I have a home inspector who will do your home inspection for $100 off. I'll have a title company that won't charge you the buyer settlement fee. And so therefore, we can save you about $3,000 to $3,500.
instead of putting them in a corner, making them,
Because
Feel
80% of the people are gonna say yes. right? If someone walks in with a business card and says, hey, my agent said to let you know that they're working with me, by all means, but if somebody doesn't come in and say that, they haven't been educated by their agents, they probably don't have an agent, right? Or not a Remax Gateway agent. Okay, so, client appreciation program, save thousands. Okay? Personal business decision on your part, but people have asked before, do you have a signed agreement? Well, I was just thinking about it. I mean, they seem nice. I met them at the last open house. They said they've run some searches for me, blah, 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 right? Yes, Jessica?
One that's been working really well for me when I do open houses is I ask for the agent's name if they tell me there's an agent, they have an agent.
Right.
I want the agent's name so that I won't bug them to follow up or to say that, I'll reach out to their agent. And then I
Right.
get the name. And it works really well too, like to help bring in more offers.
Right.
So you know who to reach out to.
Yep. Okay.
So maybe instead of saying, do you have an agent, say, what is your agent's name?
Yeah, so again, I think, you ask them before they sign in, if they are working with an agent. Say, hey, when we get back to the kitchen, there's gonna be a sign-in form, but, as you look through the house, just keep in mind that if you're not working with an agent, I have a client appreciation program I'll be more than happy to tell you about when we go to the kitchen counter. So, you kind of set that up.
Getting people to sign the right to represent.
Okay, so what's the objection?
They don't want to be locked in.
Okay?
Why?
Why, right? I won't work with them if they don't sign it. They sign it first or I don't do anything.
Well, it's your business.
Okay, they don't want to be locked in, okay? Okay, so the question is, and I know the answer to this. Hi, before we talk, I want you to sign this buyer broker agreement.
No.
You don't do that, right?
No,
Okay, so the question is, what
after my
services
first,
don't I provide?
after my first meeting.
What services don't I provide that you're looking for?
Mhm.
That you want?
Sometimes they're coming from, in particular, New York State, where there are no buyer agreements. There's no agreements for anything there.
Okay,
They just can bounce around from realtor to realtor, so they don't trust it. But I explained to them that it's a statute in Virginia and must be,
in Virginia's law, if we're gonna work together, we have to have that relationship solidified. Otherwise, I represent the seller.
I'll give them something of value, like set up a search for them, or tell them about something that they're interested in, and then if they decide that they do wanna work with me, the next step is an agreement, and then I'll just follow up with them and try to stay friendly, like I wasn't angry they didn't sign, but I can't really take
You
that
can't
next
force them.
step. I
Right.
can't take that next step until they commit
Until
to
they
me.
sign.
And they can
Right.
fire me at any time if they like. No one's ever
That's
done
what I was
that, but
putting here,
if you'd like to fire me.
easy exit, right?
Then they can.
If at any time you're not happy with the service I provide, I'm happy to sign withdrawal.
I say if you could fire me.
I don't always remember to do it this way, but I found it effective if I begin the conversation talking about what it does for them. Like this is an agreement, it obligates me to act in your best behalf, to, keep our conversations confidential. Before I get to what it does for me, I'm talking to them about what it does for them. Because I think if you just hand somebody something, say, sign this, it designates me as your agent, you start talking about what it does, what it's
Right.
requiring, or what it's requiring them to do.
Right.
Whereas if you start with, here's how
The
it
benefits
helps
to
you,
them.
yeah.
Right.
commitment on both sides,
I like that.
benefits them.
Okay?
It's okay.
I had a client one time, we were showing 4 houses, and right before we started to show the first house, they didn't want to sign the agreement. I said, why limit it? I said, okay, let's go ahead and limit it to the 4 houses we see today.
Right, specific.
And as it turns out, the 4th house is the one they bought. So we
Okay.
locked them in for that time frame for those specific homes.
Okay, so,
I didn't commit them for a further
Right.
term.
short time frame, right? Great, we'll just do it for today. So you can go out and look at houses. And if you're happy, we can extend it for 30 days. If you're not happy, there's no further obligation. But it is law in Virginia that we do need to have this agreement signed. It's not my doing, it's the state that made this law. To protect you because of all the benefits you get from me representing you.
Well, they have those great, why the broker's agreement, pamphlets from the NVR store.
Yeah.
You can put in your little presentation thing too. So they see it in writing, it's official.
Right, that's,
Like 90 cents, 40 cents.
Okay, what else? What are some other objections?
I like
I-
my green.
my thing is-
wall.
Okay,
I like my blue walls and tan walls.
I like that one.
what does it say online? You need to interview 3 agents.
Oh, you're not doing them?
What was yours?
I like my green accent wall, and I like my tan walls, like changing paint colors.
Okay,
They don't wanna listen.
okay, I think it looks great too, but 90% of the buyers have burgundy furniture, or they have gray furniture that won't go with that, so they can't visualize their furniture with this green wall, so we need to make it as neutral as possible. And there's a show on HGTV that you should watch. Okay?
I know.
Obviously, you're not watching enough TV.
She's so country and they're older and I don't wanna be like,
That show's
Yes.
called Paint My Walls, by the way.
It's called Paint My Walls. Paint My Ride.
I do want
Paint My
to.
Walls. Yeah. Okay,
and it's you?
yes. So you want to make the house as neutral as possible to open it up to as many buyers as possible, because you don't want to limit yourself when someone comes in. Plus, I don't know how well that wall is going to photograph and what it's going to look like on the internet. And that's where 92% of the buyers go first to look for a home. And if it turns out fuchsia instead of burgundy, we're not going to have anybody look at your house. So just say something along those lines, okay? Okay, so we need to interview 3 agents.
Who are you interviewing?
What are you looking for in an agent?
Why? Why do you need to interview 3 agents? Well, that's what it said on the internet. So everything on the internet's true?
I'll sell you a bridge.
I mean, so you have to you have to ask them those questions, so it's why, right? Because my parents said so, right? Or because my neighbor said I need to interview 3 agents. Well, if I can provide you with what you're looking for in an agent, is there any reason why you wouldn't sign with me? And then save yourself the time of meeting with 2 other agents. Okay? So, if I can provide everything you're looking for, you need an agent. Why interview 3? All right, what else? What are you looking for in an agent?
What are you looking for in an agent that, that I didn't
That I don't have.
Do you have a list of questions that you're gonna ask them?
Do you have a list of questions?
If I answer them to your satisfaction, will you list with me today?
Or buy through me? Okay. It's a little bit late in the game if you ask when you're there who else are going to be interviewing. So if you don't know them, are you going to be interviewing other agents? Right? So then who else are you interviewing?
so that you can be prepared with their stuff.
So that should be in like your pre-call meeting
In your
appointment setup.
pre-call meeting appointment, correct. So that you know who you're going up against.
Right.
Okay.
What if they weren't planning on it, but then you
Well, you don't really have to, I was just wondering. Because I'm sure we're gonna be able to work together.
Dave told me once that somebody told him, oh, well, we'll let you know. He said, well, why? He said, oh, we're interviewing someone else. We feel like we need to keep the appointment. I said, oh, I can call and cancel for you.
Yes, and you can,
I'll take care.
right? So,
Call me and cancel.
so also when you do this, right? And that's when, again, if it's not a referred person or someone that you've worked with in the past, it's somebody who calls in, hey, I'm looking to interview an agent to list my house or to work with as a buyer agent, then you can ask some of these questions before you go out so that you're prepared. Okay? Okay? What else do we have? Zillow says my house is worth more. Oh, you're laughing at that one. Does that happen to you? Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. Oops.
Realtor.com's a little bit closer.
This is an easy one.
Another realtor says it's worth more or less, right? If you're holding a house open. Paul, you have the answer.
Well, I have the answer for the online ones.
Okay?
If you go online and before you go to the appointment and get as many as you can, at least you can always get 5. You might be able to get 7, and you average them out. You can show them the average, and you can also show them the variance between the high and the low. It's often $100,000, which right away shows them how ridiculous the whole process is. Then I do Home Pricing Wizard, and the average of all the internet ones generally come out where I've come out on my Home Pricing Wizard.
Right.
I do Home Pricing Wizard first.
Right. So the thing is, these are all single data points, right? Zillow is just one. And so when I conglomerate all of these or aggregate all of this data, and I see your house because has Zillow seen your house? Has
Right.
Redfin seen your house? Has Realtor.com seen your house? Did this other realtor just give you a range or they actually come in your house? Right? So you have to ask those questions too, because they don't know what your house looks like, right? Just like the tax assessor hasn't seen your house. So you have a multi-tier pricing approach. And sellers really like to hear that, oh, tell me more. What is a multi-tier? Well, we've gone in and we've done all this, okay? So, but again, have they seen your house? Has the computer seen your house that gave you that valuation?
What if someone says that their home was the model, so it's obviously worth more than everybody else's on the street? Because
Still
they have-
depends on the
they have-
condition.
They have crown molding and they know their neighbors didn't, and I'm like, crown molding is
It'll
nice.
help you sell your house faster.
Yeah, it's a
And
nice
we can definitely
feature.
advertise that in our marketing, highlighting the upgrades that the builder put in. But even the builder knew when they put those upgrades in that they wouldn't be able to get that full amount.
Right,
And as an example, we have a house listed for sale right now, that if you price it out, about $855, and we have it on the market right now for $800, because it was over-improved.
right.
So when you over-improve a property, you don't always get that back dollar for dollar.
And that's what I tried to tell the gentleman, and the one that he was trying to compare his to, that it was so much, his was worth so much more, wound up selling literally for like $7.99, so you're never gonna get back every penny that was put into it.
Right. And that's similar to what we talked about before, the cost versus value, right? When you're trying to decide if somebody's gonna fix up a house.
Right,
So if you were to put your house on the market today and you're your next door neighbor, would you add this crown molding and would you do this and would you do that and would you expect to get this much more?
right.
Okay? Then, the other thing is, many buyers are willing to overpay?
And if they are, can you get an appraisal for that amount?
Right. Would you pay $50,000 more for your house than your next door neighbor's house? And would it appraise for $50,000 more from an outside third party who the lender's going to hire to appraise your property? Right? Okay. We have that. Hmm. Let's list at, so we have room to negotiate.
If we price it right, we won't have to.
What do you say to them?
I say price it for what you think the value is
So,
gonna be.
you know, it's, we agree it's worth 500, but let's put it on at 515. So we have a little bit of room to negotiate to come down to 500.
Doesn't work that way.
They're gonna start, they're
Is
gonna
that your suggestion, or are you just throwing that out there?
That's what's, you haven't had anybody say that to you?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
I'm
won't have
just
room to negotiate.
lost track there for a
Well, are you
second.
gonna
Yeah,
like,
because you were sleeping.
Yes. Well, I was tight texting. I was sexting.
are you gonna eliminate buyers who are looking up to 500,000?
Anthony Weiner?
Yeah.
You're gonna eliminate.
We're gonna say it doesn't work that way first. Okay? And then it eliminates buyers,
Serious buyers who would pay the price.
real
more.
and serious buyers.
I do the example of the
But everybody likes
25,000
to
below and
negotiate.
above, shopping for $25,000 increments. If you're at 515, you're not getting to 475 to 5. So you're missing a whole
So price
segment.
bracket
Right. I like to be at $25,000 prices.
and miss out on buyers.
Right.
So fear of loss is always a bigger motivator than gain, right? The other thing is houses priced right sell faster, and you have to have the data to show them this, right? Median days on market are 19. And look at all the houses that sold in 19 days or less, they all got 100 to 105% of list price. The houses that sold in 45 to 50 days, their original list price was $515 and they sold for $485. Are you willing to lose out on $15,000 and have your house on the market for 45 days? Right? So you want to do and again, you have to know the numbers for that market. And just know that people are going to say, we want to leave room to negotiate. Okay, let's just do 510 then. You're still overpriced for the market. That's not where the value is going to come in. And then again, you're going to have an appraisal issue later. So no numbers. Whoops. Days on market, list to sales price, and original list to sales price. This means you have to do some work, right? You can't just say this stuff. You're going to have to know the numbers and back it up and show them that you're the professional because you've done this extra step. If they said, well, someone else will list it for $515, well, did they go into detail with you as to what the days on market were going to be and what you're going to have to do to maintain your property and what the eventual sales price would be based upon the historical data that I'm showing you? So just because somebody says they're going to list it there doesn't mean it's going to sell there, right? A lot of agents buy listings. They'll list it for whatever you want to do, and they won't have you do any improvements that you need to make to get that price that I'm telling you need to get. Okay?
It's really true. I mean, the first transaction I just did, I did the math. Lynn and I sat down and I said, okay, they started at 550.
Right?
And, 110 days on the market with no offers. And I pulled all the numbers and I said where they were sitting at 519.9.
Right?
I said compared to what's just sold in that same neighborhood, I think that's a pretty good price range now, 110 days later.
Right.
So we went in at 515, and they took 515, and it appraised at 520. So they finally slid down the hill all summer.
See, so you have a good story to tell when
Right.
someone says they want to overprice their house to
Right.
negotiate.
Right. I mean,
Here's what happened with another client that I worked with.
their kids didn't get to start school where they wanted to move
Right.
because they had to wait and sell the house. You know, it's true. That the market sets the price.
Market sets the price, right?
Okay, so you don't sell any houses in Warrenton. Why would we use you? Whether it's to buy or sell, you don't know the market. That one stumped you guys, huh? No? Okay, so then I'm gonna use another agent. All right, see you later.
So you could do all the market analysis. You could come in and do your homework
I
before the
have
call.
access to all the same data.
Right.
Yeah.
I can pick the brains of local agents to, I mean, I don't,
A lot of times,
I don't know.
there are agents in neighborhoods that sell 80% of the houses in that neighborhood, and they don't know what the market's like outside that neighborhood. So they have limited knowledge as to what market values really are within your neighborhood. Because you could concentrate just in South Riding, but if you go to Kirkpatrick Farm, and you go to Dawson's Corner, and you go over to Stone Ridge, you could maybe get $10,000 or $15,000 more because people might be searching in that whole area, not just specifically South Riding. So you're limiting your pricing potentially if you work with someone who's not familiar with all the markets around. Okay? So you have access to all the same data. Outside market knowledge can be a benefit. If someone has 5 listings in a neighborhood and I have 1, who are they going to cater to? Person that has a squeaky wheel, the person who has been on the market the longest, right? They have 5 other chirping birds to feed. Instead of me, I just have you. And I'm going to focus and concentrate all my efforts on working with you to help you get your house sold or to help you find a house in this neighborhood, right? So, only client in that area. So you have more time, energy, effort.
I have seen where that's really true, where an agent had 5 listings or so, 4 or 5 listings in the same neighborhood, and she was the dominant agent. And she was really trying to steer me as my buyer's agent to the one house that was vacant.
Right.
And kept really pushing for that vacant home, like,
So
oh, what
that's a
about
great
that one,
story
what
to
about
tell.
that one, what about,
Yeah.
no, they want this one and they want the tenants out, but, you know.
Right.
So we're trying to get a house that wasn't actually available within my buyer's timeline, but she was like, but this one is, but this
Right.
one is, and like constantly pushing the other one, not selling the one we wanted.
Right, because what you can
Making
do
it
with the
work.
tenant in the house,
Yeah,
you can buy that tenant to get them out of the house.
yeah,
Sometimes, especially like if it's an apartment complex, they might only have to pay 1 month's rent to get out. Or you can offer to list it for free and pay the tenant's agent fee if there's an acceptable tenant to the landlord so that your people can buy. So there's some options there. So again, local market, local expert directs clients to have, not all the time, but a lot of time. Okay? Any other comments on that?
Jessica, was that her oldest listing? Maybe she was just hoping to clear her oldest
It had
listing
been on
first.
for a while, and, yeah.
It was
I mean,
probably a
It
needy
was
seller.
the vacant one too, though, so
Yeah.
Right,
like,
yeah, so
she
the seller's
thought, oh,
making
well,
two
this would work perfect, you know, yeah.
Yeah, just any vacant house will do in a storm, right?
Okay? I don't want to use a realtor.
Well, good luck with that. You don't know what you don't know. Danger, Will Robinson.
Number one is why, right? Well, I had a really bad experience with another realtor. You know, they ran off with my $5,000 earnest money deposit check. Right, I mean, so then you can say, well, not all realtors are alike and some are held to a higher standard, right? So you definitely want to ask why, right? Well, I'm gonna go and ask for, 2.5%, 3% off the listing price and get that credited because I'm not using a realtor, right? So you want to know why. But, so commission rebate, right?
It's not necessarily how it works. If you just won't be represented in the case, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get that discount, because the listing agent will get the
The
commission.
seller's paying it. right.
The listing agent will get the commission either way. The seller's already committed to pay that.
Right.
Either the listing agent will get it all, and you'll not be represented, or it'll be split between the two agents, and you'll be fair.
Okay? No representation is not a good thing. Would you go to court without an attorney? Why would you buy a house without a realtor? A good realtor,
Would you do your own
not any
lobotomy?
realtor. Huh?
Would you do your own lobotomy?
Have you already had one? More importantly.
Are you gonna stop working full-time so you can pay attention to buying your house? Cause I'm gonna work for you full-time while you're working.
Time consideration, that's a big one.
Are they familiar with the Virginia state laws?
Familiar with
Virginia national laws?
contract laws. Come on,
And this is for buyers?
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Negotiation.
There you go, Paul, way to go. Guess what? I can negotiate, in most cases, the amount of money you think you're gonna save, depending on the length of time the house has been on the market, the seller's motivation, things along those lines.
What about
My negotiation skills
in your
can
resources?
save you more than what you think you can get.
In your resources, what if they hire a bad inspector? What if they,
Right. Vendor relationships. Okay. You guys also, and ladies look forward. But yes, Jessica.
Well, I had that one that was gonna just do a flat fee to throw it into the MLS.
I think a lot of these would be the same, right? How are you gonna price your house? Are you gonna leave money on the table? What happens if there's a low appraisal? You know, how are you gonna work with homeowners association violations if there are any? Who you're gonna bounce questions are if something goes awry with the buyer's home inspection. Is it a legitimate way to get out of the contract or not?
do you have a real estate attorney that's advising you?
Right. Okay. Danny's packing up, Scott's packed up, Amy left. You're ready to go? All right. Well, we got through most of them.
Scott, I have a question on
Two
that.
questions.
So they're gonna accept a contract from a seller, and they're gonna sign on something that the seller has written specifically in the seller's best interest if they're not gonna be represented as a buyer?
Right.
So they're basically gonna say, hi, we just met, I wanna buy your house, you're gonna present me with a contract and I'm gonna just sign it willfully?
Right, yeah. So there's nobody looking out for your best interests.
Right.
And that's what I'm here to do, is protect you. Did you have more, or no? No? You're done? Okay. All right. Those are most of the good ones, I think. We covered a lot of them in one way or the other. Your office is not close to my house. All right. Go sell something.